Well, you've got the guys behind me here in the European Parliament, the MEPs, who are discussing a youth strategy for the European Union. And what that means is about getting young people back into jobs. Of course, we've got 60% youth unemployment in the Mediterranean, particularly in Greece and in Spain. But what they don't realise is that a lot of the legislation that they push through, such as the Agency Workers Directive, actually ties the hands of employers and stops them taking on young people. The other point that I made, and it's the elephant in the room that no one wants to mention, particularly in the UK, where we have 22% youth unemployment, is that immigration, particularly from Eastern Europe, and we flung the doors open in 2004 to the whole of Eastern Europe, is now having a detrimental effect on our young people. Because people are coming from Eastern Europe and they're taking the jobs that the people in Britain, young people in Britain, should be doing. And that's why we've got 1 million of our own people who are unemployed at the moment. It has to change, and the only way you will sort out unemployment in Britain is if you get control of your borders. And if you want to get control of your own borders, you have to leave the European Union. The problem that you have is that the economies in Europe are all different. If you look at the economy in Bulgaria, for example, and Romania, they're completely different to the economy in Britain. You look at the average wage in Bulgaria, for example, you can't compare it to Britain. And if you were someone living in Bulgaria, you'd want to be getting on your bike and you'd want to be coming to Britain to work because you could earn more money. You can't have freedom of movement of peoples when you've got such divergent economies. It's mad. And I think it's economic madness for our own government to allow this to happen, to allow us to have open borders when 22% of our kids can't get jobs. It doesn't make any economic sense at all. The problem that you've got is things like the Agency Workers Directive, which gives agency workers the same rights after a certain amount of time as full-time employees. What it's doing is it's discouraging employers from taking people on, and you know there's a whole raft of legislation which comes out of this place, which ties the hands particularly of SMEs, small to medium enterprises, right across Europe, in Britain as well. And what that does is it discourages them from taking on people, particularly young people, and that's another problem. But again, let's not get away from the elephant in the room here. The problem that you have is that our employment market is saturated. Whilst we have an open door to the whole of Eastern Europe, that is not going to change.